We often associate learning with hard work, which make it difficult to even get started, let alone stay consistent. But what if learning could feel more like a game? Gamification helps us learn while having fun. And when most people think of language learning apps, when they hear the word gamification, those apps can still feel repetitive and it's easy to lose motivation over time. In my opinion, two things really matter. First, shift your mindset. See learning as something fun, not something you have to do. Focus on the outcome it brings, like being able to speak while you travel. Second, create your own gamified experience. That could mean watching shows, reading stories, or playing games. By turning language learning into something you actually want to do, staying consistent becomes so much easier and a lot more fun. When it comes to learning French, I always try to make it as interactive as possible. Think of it like how kids have different activities in class to keep things interesting and fun. It's the same idea. Vocabulary has always been a bit of a struggle for me in French. Reviewing words over and over can feel really tedious, and honestly, I tend to forget them after a while. So to make it more manageable, I try to find playful ways to review, like using free online games based on different word categories, such as body parts, animals, food, and more. The key to making gamification work is finding the right level of challenge. The game should be just slightly harder than your current knowledge, that way it keeps you thinking, but it's not so difficult that you get stuck or discouraged. What I love about this method is that it feels like a mini mission. You're motivated to finish the game, and in the process, you're actively reviewing vocabulary and identifying where your weak spots are. If you're like me and enjoy reading and writing, you might love this next practice. I recently started reading Eleanor and Park in French, but instead of just passively reading, I turn it into an active translation exercise. As I go through the book, I translate the French into English, not word for word, but in my own words. I look up unfamiliar vocabulary, then write down what I understand based on the full sentence or paragraph. What I like about this method is that it forces me to really focus on comprehension. Instead of memorizing individual words, I am training myself to grasp the overall meaning, the tone, and the structure of the sentence. It's also a great way to see how native speakers naturally express ideas in French, and it helps me get used to reading more frequently in the language. There are definitely times when I don't fully understand what a sentence means, even after looking at it a few times. When that happens, I try not to rely on translation tools. I give it my best shot, and if I'm still unsure, I just move on to the next sentence. That way I stay in the flow of reading without getting stuck. I've been into K-pop since high school, and over the years I've watched a lot of Korean content, but honestly just watching videos didn't make me fluent. I will pick up random words here and there, but it wasn't enough to really understand the language. Now when I watch content to actually learn, I choose videos that have both Korean and English subtitles. A lot of K-pop groups have official YouTube channels now, and many of their videos offer multiple subtitle options, which is super helpful. I find interview-style videos especially useful since Korean, like Japanese, uses honorifics and formal speech. Interviews are a great way to get used to polite expressions. It's a safer and more respectful place to start as a learner. Here's how I usually study. First, I watch the video with both subtitles on to understand the context. Then I go back and watch it again, this time taking notes. Since it can be hard to fully grasp the grammar just by watching, I focus on picking out nouns and other key vocabulary. I highlight new words as it helps with memorization later. Then comes the fun part, writing out the characters I highlighted. By actually writing them down, I get to practice the stroke order and shape, which makes it way easier to remember. Lastly, I've been watching a Japanese TV show called Glass Heart, and I have to say I'm so impressed by how professionally all the actors and actresses play their instruments. If you're looking for something to watch in Japanese, this show is a great option. When it comes to learning through TV, I like to follow a kind of progression from beginner to more advanced. When I first started learning Japanese, I watched anime. It's fun and the visuals help you follow along even if you don't understand everything. After that, I moved on to dramas and TV shows because they're closer to how people speak in real life. It's a good way to pick up casual phrases and slang. The final stage for me is watching documentaries or more technical content. These help me learn not just language but new topics as well. For example, by watching Glass Heart, I've started learning more about music in Japanese, which makes the experience both fun and educational.